Industry and overpopulation are the main causes in climate change. 47% of the U.S. is used for food production, and 70% of that is used to produce feed for cattle. Only 1% of that is used for things that we actually eat, like fruit, vegetables, or nuts. Cows produce methane, which is a very bad greenhouse gas. I think people are the leading cause in climate change because of their actions. Ride a bike, plant a tree, switch to solar panels, or even clean the beach.
Especially our senator from Florida, Marco Rubio, who doesn't believe that we have climate change, is not interested in assisting our state. I would hope that he would have gone out and grabbed us federal funds over the last 3 years to help make our cities viable.
I do not believe that human activity is causing these dramatic changes to our climate the way these scientists are portraying it.
Why do you think there is such opposition about the science?
I think it's politics. I think it has to do with lobbying and industry. And I always say one thing, Leo. I said, the ocean is not Republican and it's not Democrat. All it knows how to do is rise.
Satellite data show for the last 17 years, there has been no significant recorded warming.
It's supposed to be 70 degrees today. It's freezing here. Speaking of global warming, we need some global warming. It's freezing.
There's about as robust a consensus about human-caused climate change as there is for any matter in science, be it the theory of gravity. 97% of climate scientists agree the globe is warming, our climate is changing, it's due to fossil fuel burning and other human activities. Unfortunately, we are fighting this massive disinformation campaign to confuse the public.
If you look at the satellite data, we actually have had no significant warming since 1998. Actually, no warming. We've been
in a legitimate scientific debate. They just need to divide the public. And all of that hatred and fear is, in fact, organized and funded by a few players. Fossil fuel interests, folks like the Koch brothers, finance a very large echo chamber of climate change denialism.
The reality is a lot of climatologists believe that the science is not settled.
Global warming is illusory. We're actually going through a period of global cooling.
It's easier to believe in a benevolent God, the baby Jesus, than it is in some kind of theory about global warming.
Websites and news outlets and think tanks, they find people with fairly impressive credentials who are willing to sell those credentials to fossil fuel interests.
Dr. Fred Singer, president of the Science and Environmental Policy Project.
The weather balloons around the world show no warming of the atmosphere in the last 25 years.
You have all of these organizations with lofty sounding names like Americans for Prosperity or the Heartland Institute. These are front groups that are funded by corporate interests. Americans for Prosperity is really just a front group for the Koch brothers.
That's an organization founded by David and Charles Koch. And good morning to you, Tim. Welcome here. What are you going to get for your money?
We hope to see policies change.
Koch Industries is one of the largest privately held fossil fuel interests in the world. And they're doing everything they can to protect that wealth.
Would you give up all that industrialization? Would you give up all the productivity that's brought us, all the lives it has saved over the last 100 years so that the temperature would rise 0.5% or 1%?
They've lobbied Congress.
We keep hearing 2014 has been the warmest year on record. So here, Mr. President, catch this.
James Inhofe is probably the most prominent congressional climate change denier.
Global warming is the greatest hoax ever perpetrated on the American people.
He's the chair of the Senate Environment Committee.
There are some people who are so arrogant to think that they are so powerful they can change climate. Man can't change climate.
It might not be surprising to learn that James Inhofe is one of the largest recipients of fossil fuel money in the U.S. Senate. Fossil fuel interests have bought our House of Representatives and Senate Environment Committee. We can't get a climate bill passed through our Congress because it's controlled by fossil fuel-funded climate change deniers who are blocking any bills that would attempt to deal with this problem.
By the year 2100, the sea level will have risen by 1.8 feet. There will be ice-free Arctic summers. People will be exposed to extreme heat waves every 5 years. There will be an increase in flood risk by 170%, and plants and animals are at risk of losing more than half of their habitat. That's why there's organizations such as World Wildlife Fund that helps protect animals and their environment. The Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change is a body of the United Nations dedicated to providing the world with the objective and scientific view on climate change. Global warming is the warming of the Earth, which is just a small part of climate change. I think climate change affects the whole world. Pope Francis called on Thursday the world's 1.2 billion Catholics to join the fight against climate change. In a letter, the Pope declared that the science of climate change is clear, and that the Catholic Church views climate change as a moral issue that must be addressed in order to protect the earth and everyone on it.